Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua Ba'Shem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles, the elders. Salutations to you, sincere brothers, teaching in truth and in sincerity. This lesson will be entitled, and it begins, 2nd Ezra 15 and 17. My source, CNN.com. And this article is entitled, CDC Issues Travel Advisory for New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. This article was published March the 28th, 2020. The CDC and Prevention issued a travel advisory urging people in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut to refrain from non-essential domestic travel for the next 2 weeks. President Donald Trump had asked the CDC on Saturday to issue the advisory after he had floated the idea of a quarantine earlier in the day. The CDC said this advisory does not apply to employees of critical infrastructure industries, including but not limited to trucking, public health professionals, financial services, and food supply. These employees of critical infrastructure, as defined by the U.S. Departments of Homeland Security, and have a special responsibility to maintain normal work schedules. The move comes, he said on Twitter, after consulting with the governors of the 3 states who will administer the plan in consultation with the federal government. The CDC said that the governors of the states would have full discretion on how to implement the advisory. Trump said in his tweet that a quarantine would not be necessary. Trump had said earlier in the day that he was considering a short-term quarantine of hotspots in parts of the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, where cases of coronavirus continue to rise. We're thinking about certain things. Some people would like to see New York quarantined because it's a hot spot. We might not have to do it, but there's a possibility that sometime today we'll do a quarantine short-term, 2 weeks on New York, probably New Jersey, certain parts of Connecticut. He told reporters as he departed the White House for Norfolk Naval Station to send off a naval hospital ship to New York. Trump's suggestion comes after the U.S. this week became the epicenter of the global pandemic, with more than 120,000 reported COVID-19 cases across the country, and more than 52,000 of them in New York State alone. Officials forecast that the apex of the pandemic, there is still 14 to 21 days away, but overwhelmed hospitals in New York as well as across the U.S. working to treat coronavirus patients and curb the spread of the virus are facing a shortage of supplies and ventilators, a key piece of equipment. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said that he spoke with Trump on Saturday morning, but that the two had not discussed a quarantine. I don't even know what that means. I don't know how that could be legally enforceable, the Democratic governor said during in a news conference in Albany. And from a medical point of view, I don't know what you would be accomplishing, but I can tell you I don't even like the sound of it, he added. Later Saturday, Cuomo told CNN's Ana Cabrera that the quarantine sounded more like a lockdown for the New York area, calling a potential move by the federal government mayhem. It would be chaos and mayhem, Cuomo said. It's totally opposite everything he's been saying. I don't think it is plausible. I don't think it is legal. Trump, however, earlier said that possible quarantine would be enforceable and restrict travel from those parts of the tri-state area. He also said any quarantine wouldn't affect truckers from outside the New York area. Restrict travel because they're having problems down in Florida. A lot of New Yorkers going down. We don't want that, he said. Florida's governor had mandated a 14-day self-quarantine or isolation period for travelers coming to Florida from airports in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. According to media reports, wealthy New Yorkers have fled Manhattan for vacation homes in the Hamptons, the Catskills, the Poconos, Florida, and Connecticut. Florida government Ron DeSantis said during a call with Trump, the president mentioned the possibility of a quarantine around the New York City area. There's a lot of logistics involved, and I think the president is well suited to figure that out. DeSantis said during a Saturday briefing, whatever works, I think we need to do. DeSantis said it's not fair to Floridians to just be airdropping in people from the hot zones, bringing infections with them. He added that New York officials were working hard and doing a great job, but people are dispersing from there. Second Ezra 15 and 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. This prophecy is being manifested in real time. If you are from the New York City area, you cannot just go to Florida like you would have several months ago. Esau is using this alleged pandemic to control the masses through a tactic we call fear. And through this fear, people are submitting their liberties without any resistance. Lord, will you edify? Shalom.